We have a major Toronto Raptors trade update. As we all witnessed, this team fought so hard and was so desperate to get a top pick in this year's NBA draft, and right now are projected to land a guy that is highly touted across the NBA to the point where there are a lot of reports and rumors circulating now at this point in regards to teams, including the LA Lakers, being interested in acquiring an asset that the Toronto Raptors have right now to bring in a player that we've talked about a ton over the course of this offseason in common Maluach. So we're going to break down what's going on with this piece that the Toronto Raptors have, the NBA is coveting right now, and what the latest reports are in regards to the trade landscape for the Toronto Raptors involved with that first round pick. So lots of stuff to break down in this video. Before we do, folks, again, we hit that mark 37,400. Let's even get 37,500 this week. The goal is to get 38,000 ahead of this year's draft lottery, which is only I think a couple of weeks, a week and a half away. So, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all of the latest Toronto Raptors news. But let's jump into it because, again, this NBA draft has been the topic of discussion for a bunch of people. And of course, if we get Cooper Flagg, there's no world we're trading this pick. We want to keep in those young stars. Unless you want some of the top players in the NBA are available, the Toronto Raptors are going to want to keep that number one overall pick. But right now, in terms of the actual landscape, and we'll see how things actually shake out, but the Toronto Raptors are projected to get most likely the 7th or 8th pick in this year's NBA draft. I'm still holding out hope we jump into that top 4, which is a very realistic possibility, a 7.5% chance at number 1, and roughly about close to 30%, in the mid 30%, and jump into the top 4. We are hopeful we move in that direction, but the most likely outcome is to be in that 7th or 8th pick range. So that's something that the Toronto Raptors fans are all looking at, and we're looking at, and assuming the Toronto Raptors end up in that projected range, 7th or 8th, there is an asset that everyone is interested in. As firstly, we'll take a look at it all, because projected top 10 pick Kama Maluach looks fantastic, working out in the pre-draft process, moving and getting off the floor extremely well, and more significant gains with his skill level, footwork, and touch the past year at Duke. So this is, of course, a guy that a lot of Raptors fans are familiar with, that have been following this team's, pursuit in this NBA draft, because Masai Ujiri has come out and directly stated that, it makes sense to bring in a big man. I'll bring out his quote directly, saying, and in this draft, wherever we are going to be, we're going for the best talent available. I know it's the answer everybody gives, but yeah, it's a unique draft, and we feel like we have a talented player available wherever we draft. We tried to get one that fits our ball club. Yeah, we need another young big. We would definitely look into that, but it's not really focused on that. To be honest, there are a lot of talented kids. So the Raptors are going to go with the approach of best talent available, according to Masai Ujiri, but he did directly name drop how the team does need another young big, and Kama Maluach is certainly a piece. So before we get carried away about who he is, like in terms of him as a basketball player, out there in college last season for the Duke Blue Devils, 71% from the field, 9 points per game, over 6.6 rebounds out there per night, and he showed some promise out there as a shooter, about 1.3 blocks, and just really mobile, and has all the intangibles to be a really, really solid athletic rebounding, rim protecting center out there in the NBA that also, isn't horrible from the free throw line. So, and you look at his per 36 numbers, they are absolutely ridiculous. 15, 2.2 blocks, 11 rebounds per game. So definitely a player that has some high upside, including when you look at his actual intangibles. He's 7'2", 250, very mobile, and only 18 years old. Kama Maluach is a guy that a lot of Toronto Raptors fans would be excited to draft here now at this point. So we've talked about Kama Maluach out here on the channel. This isn't a new name, but why are we talking about it in the context of trades here right now? Well, he has been impressing everyone as of late, and now reports have come out essentially revealing that Brett Siegel dropped. Don't be shocked if multiple teams look to trade up for Maluach. The Duke prospect is the exact type of athletic big man teams are looking for, especially a team like the Lakers. So this is very, very intriguing. Teams trying to trade up for Kama Maluach, because right now he is mocked by NBA draft, the Tankathon mock, that to go to the Toronto Raptors at number 7. So right now the pick that he's projected to land, at least from this outlet, it's number 7. Now he has been mocked in a very wide range of places. This is from CBS Sports. They mocked him at number 5, so the 5th overall pick, which of course would be ahead of where the Toronto Raptors are drafting. But then you see from NBA Draft.net, they see him falling down to you see at the very bottom there, 23 overall. Now, I Would be shocked if he falls out of the top 10 from everything we've heard, but there have been various reports. He seems like one of the more polarizing players out there in the mix in regards to players. A guy like Zach Edey last year was mocked to go all over the place. Of course, end up going top 10, to the Memphis Grizzlies. But I digress. Come on, Maluach is the Toronto Raptors are in prime position right now to draft Maluach, and frankly, there's a lot of teams that are interested, including the LA Lakers. There's also some concerns in terms of, we made a whole video on this, his visa issues in terms of teams being able to actually look at him, which, of course, you want to get those workouts. You want to get those hands-on, close looks for guys that you're banking more on potential side versus, win now or ready now primed NBA players. But that's neither here nor there. Kamal Maluach is a guy that, frankly, a lot of NBA teams are interested in. It's clear based on all of these reports. And the team that was named out there as a trade partner, as a trade piece, is the LA Lakers, who are in a weird spot in terms of their roster construction, if I could bring up their roster. Of course, in terms of a trade for Maluach, you're not trading LeBron James, you're not trading Luka Doncic, but there are some other pieces out there on this Lakers team that could be intriguing to make a deal with. Of course, Dalton Knecht is the first name because he was the guy the Lakers were willing to trade out there in terms of a trade package. And, they did it for Mark Williams and then, of course, rescinded that trade, added some draft picks out there on that front. But outside that, I don't know if there's any players that I'm super intrigued by on this roster. I mean, Hachimura would be valuable, Finney Smith would be valuable, but those feel like pieces that would be more valuable to the LA Lakers than the Toronto Raptors, just given overall roster construction. So, in terms of the Lakers being a team, Dalton Knecht and picks seems to be the framework of a deal that could go down for the Toronto Raptors, to trade for Maluach, and you'd have to expect those picks to be valuable, multiple first or whatever is going on there at this point. And look, Dalton Knecht is a good basketball player, 9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 38% from the three-point line, and 41% out there on corner threes. But he was older for a rookie, and there's been some stuff behind the scenes, not just because of the fact that he was traded, but the LA Lakers looking to move on from him, and just from what I could gather, they are apparently he's not great at following plays, in terms of odd court intelligence. That's something that people have talked about in terms of the rumor mill, the behind the scenes stuff with Dalton Knecht. I'm not in the locker room, can't speak to any of it, don't watch all the Laker games, but that is something that we've heard. So packaging our top, the pick that we tanked away this year tanked it away, and then for some future picks in the Lakers that are that's expected to be good for future seasons, given the fact that Luka Doncic is on their roster, and then, Dalton Knecht as the centerpiece of one of these packages. It's not something that I am that encouraged by, something that I'm that intrigued by, especially where the Toronto Raptors are trying to be in win-now mode next season. So the Lakers don't seem to be a team that, unless it's a 3-team package, unless there's some weird stuff going on, it's not the deal that I am most juiced by. But as Brett Siegel said, there's multiple teams looking to trade up in the NBA draft. Of course, the Lakers get named because they're the Lakers and they get clicks and stuff. But basically, the Raptors would have to get blown away, in my opinion, to deal away a pick, especially where Masai has even said there's a lot of talented players out there in this NBA draft. But don't be surprised if we start to hear some rumors, some rumblings about Masai negotiating, trading away this pick, or moving up in different places. Or, frankly, if Maluach is available at this spot, don't be surprised if the Toronto Raptors are one of the teams to sneak into, trade with Philly if it's expected to go in the top 5 or something along those lines. So we'll keep you up to date on all of the latest news regarding this stuff. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you want to see the Raptors? What do you want to see the Raptors do with this pick? I guess it's more, we can have a more finite discussion on this once the pick selection is locked in. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys best think as far as subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out.